American citizens are on average 5 times more likely to be in prison than any other citizens. This is a fact resulting almost entirely from American greed and capitalism. One exception being the genuinely misinformed moral crusader, but we will try to clear that up for them in this speech. For sure, the last few centuries of political and bureaucratic sellouts have greatly contributed to over-incarceration in America. These politicians and bureaucrats, in coercion with the private interests, lobbyists, and prison industrial complex, etc., work feverishly to keep the profits rolling in for themselves at the expense of the less fortunate and lower-class American citizens. One general misconception of the mass incarceration in America is that it has been a slow and natural increase. This could not be further from the truth, as explained by Avlana Eisenberg in her 2016 article in the Vanderbilt Law Review entitled Incarceration Incentives in the Decarceration Era. She says after 40 years of skyrocketing incarceration rates, there are signs that a new decarceration era may be dawning. The prison population has leveled off and slightly declined. Yet, while every branch of government has taken steps to reduce prison populations, the preceding decades of mass incarceration have empowered interest groups that contributed to the expansion of the prison industry and are now invested in its continued growth. These groups, which include public correction officers and private prison management, resist decarceration era policies, and they remain a substantial obstacle to reform. Obviously, we know that nothing about mass incarceration in America has been slow or natural. The entire movement has been from the beginning maliciously calculated and was artificially engineered in order to create profits for elites and government insiders. This leads us to the reason why the system works so well. It's because it is a self-sustaining system. The employees of this monstrosity of a system obviously will fight for their own existence, leading us to a very powerful strategy implemented by government for a long time: divide and conquer. It has often been suggested the best way to divide and conquer is to dehumanize the group of people you intend on conquering. This way, a large portion of the masses no longer cares that the outsiders have been marginalized. An even better way to do this are by classifying them as criminals. Therefore, by expanding the parameters of criminality, the incarceration profiteers, as we may call them, were able to increase the amount of criminals in America for their exploitation. This has become a huge problem: the social confusion between what is right and what is wrong. Many people don't realize that the majority of American prisoners never even committed a crime involving a victim. Actually, around 87% of federal prisoners are incarcerated on account of victimless crimes. This, according to many researchers, one being libertariannews.org. This means that only 13% of prisoners would have committed crimes against other citizens. In these 87% of cases with no victims, the state then acts as the victim in the cases, leaving an excessively larger portion of the population feeling marginalized more than normal. The thing that most people do not realize is that while the states are acting as the victim in these cases, they are acting in a collective manner on behalf of the entirety of the American citizens. This while also generating profits, not to mention collecting taxes from the American public. This money mostly goes to private individuals and does not get dispersed back into society, which it had collectively claimed from the beginning. I want to thank you all for listening to my speech, and I hope that it helped to better understand the current over-incarceration crisis we're living with today in America. Thank you, and have a good day.